Hello.
Hello everyone present here.
Hello.
Apart from everything, my main focus from the testing was of the DAS of Mercedes. That thing is really epic. I don't know what themes have upgraded till now, but the DAS is a really great invention.
I am in the stream. Yep. Yeah, I don't think it's coming through for some reason.
Okay, I guess we have to restart again.
Yeah.
I don't know what was happening. The mic was coming through on Streamlabs, but it just wasn't going through. But anyway, uh, I guess we'll be restarting for
I
all
think
of
it
you.
was Tanish's voice that came through,
Tanish's voice did
not
come through.
yours.
I don't think mine didn't.
Yeah.
I don't think mine did rather. So, everyone, once again, welcome to the IRC podcast. Today we'll be covering the return of Formula One. It's been the one thing missing from all of our lives. Food, shelter can all take a backseat to Formula One. And today we'll be discussing the slightly experimental upcoming season and some of the more non-traditional approaches that people are taking to it. So we'll start with Tanish on his thoughts of F1 testing because that was a prelude to what we overcame or what we saw a steamroll of a 2019 season. 2020 testing, although it's never accurate or never representative, showed signs of competition. So Tanish, what do you feel happened through testing? What is your prediction for the season? How are the cars lined up?
For my predictions, Ferrari are really insisting that they are not sandbagging. But as a Ferrari fan, I feel they are sandbagging because there will be a great competition between Mercedes, Ferrari, and Red Bull. I don't know what they have developed till now, but yes, I feel a great competition is coming ahead.
Right, and who do you think will be front running that competition? Do you think it's going to be Red Bull second or Ferrari or I don't know, Black Sheep? Do you have? I think you're about to say something there.
No, I was just going to say testing just seems so distant now, so far away, because we haven't really seen anything in terms of any updates on the cars. Factories, I'm not sure how operational they've been. I know some of the teams have been, doing some shakedown runs or starting to do them this week. So maybe we'll hear some news. But if we simply go by what testing looked like, it didn't. I'm not sure if I fully agree with Tanish there, saying Ferrari are probably sandbagging and that there's going to be an even battle between Ferrari and Mercedes or any of the front runners. So I'm sort of in the dark. I'm a little bit lost on where things stand. I do suspect that in all probability, it's basically where we left them in testing, where Mercedes were probably way ahead of everybody else, and Ferrari was struggling to keep up.
The Das is true.
Yeah.
And Modo, what about you? What are your thoughts on? Why don't you pitch in? We haven't heard from you.
I agree with what BlackSheep just said. From what little we have seen of testing, I think Ferrari is sandbagging, and Mercedes do seem to have picked up some pace considerably. I think more when you see Ferrari's performance. But yeah, we've been in the dark, and only races will tell. I don't think there's been enough development because of the whole pandemic situation. So yeah, let's see how it goes.
I just want to highlight we're back here on this podcast with our expertise in guesswork and speculation.
uh, this is IRC telling you 90% of gossip and 10% of the truth. Um, but anyway, and I think we were all incredibly disappointed. For me, I was praying. I know after COVID hit on around the 20th of July or whenever it was, on the weekend that Formula One was supposed to start, 20th of
July?
March,
July.
sorry,
Yeah.
sorry, of March when it was supposed to start, and the FIA announced it was cancelled on Thursday evening, I think. Um,
Do you think they left it a bit late?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Ferrari were just planning on turning their engine up for a change, and because they typically do well in FP1. But yeah, that wasn't a fun evening for us. What do you think? Um, was it the right decision, or do you think that we could have possibly maintained a safe social distancing even from that time and at least gotten through Australia?
Mm, Concisely speaking, I think what the FIA decided was actually correct. And I still do feel very conflicted about the decision to start the races. I mean, coming from a look, we all want to watch races. I think that's universal. But seeing how ambiguous this whole pandemic situation is, I don't know how we're going to manage through with the races. So the early decision to postpone the races, I think I completely support what happened, even though it was kind of a bummer since we all were looking forward to the race.
Yeah, I know I probably asked a stupid question there because I think all of us are going to agree with it. But at the same time, um, sorry, Tanish, go ahead.
Yeah, I feel a bit different from others. Sorry, bro. I feel a bit different. I think they should have gone for at least Australia. I feel that. At least behind closed doors, that could have been possible. But yeah, they should have gone.
I mean,
Uh, Mara, sorry, quickly. I think we're getting a couple of comments about your microphone being a bit too low. Maybe if you
I
want to just turn that up a little bit.
yes, I've increased it already. I saw those
Cool.
comments. Thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so they should have gone for the first race of the season. I feel like that.
Um,
They should. Could have postponed the races afterwards, but the first race could have been gone for the. I mean, could have been raced.
was there a McLaren, somebody from the McLaren team who was affected, or
Yeah,
uh,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah. McLaren.
It was
So
the McLaren crew.
if I remember correctly, somebody got quarantined and hospitalized, and McLaren pulled out. Given that was the case, I don't think they should have gone ahead, which I think they rightly didn't, because you wouldn't want to race with a team not on the grid, with the possibility of the virus spreading through the, through the paddock.
yeah, I
I
so
agree as well.
Modo, yeah, I completely think that you're right, and Black Sheep too. It wouldn't have been fair for the championship standings or safe for anybody.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Well, given that that's in the past now, we've got the season finally kicking off in Austria, the double header at the same track. I just want to see what you guys think about the whole behind closed doors, as Mara pointed out. It's not something we've experienced before. I'm not sure what the atmosphere is going to look like on TV.
I would say it's a very smart decision taken by the FIA to keep it behind closed doors. Uh, I mean, we do understand that sports and audience go hand in hand, and the excitement of the sport kind of dulls down when you don't have a good audience to witness what the sport is like.
Sure.
But considering how the pandemic is progressing and how there's just general sense of paranoia around, uh, I think it was a very smart move. So to not have any audiences in the race.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's just going to be a bit bizarre to
Yeah.
see cars racing with no spectators, but I guess
Es-
we'll just get used to it. We'll probably
Yeah.
just be more excited that racing is back in the first place.
Yeah.
I was going to say that.
Oh boy.
He'll probably point out to the best fans watching on TV, I guess.
Yeah. I think he's I think he's going to be pretty bummed out by this. But I think we could give him like an extra set of tires, probably to like calm him down. Yep. Mhm. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
Well, I guess
Yeah.
you have to slightly also give it to FIA, to the FIA, in making sure that they bring these events despite all of this stuff. Make sure that all of this cohesion happens without, the medical risk involved to some extent. I
Mhm.
guess.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, there are so many moving parts in this sport. So, and obviously, FI would have considered a lot of factors before deciding to, schedule the current tentative eight races. And I think I recently read an interview with the president of FI Medical Commission where he was questioned about the safety angle of these events. And from what I could gather from that interview, FI seems confident that gloves, masks, helmets, and like frequent hand washing is enough to, keep people safe, but not 100% safe. So they're kind of banking on this principle. And as far as and this is strictly for people who are in the garage. And as far as paddock is concerned, strict guidelines have been imposed to everybody, including the journalists, to keep like at least 1 meter safe distance. So I think pretty straightforward guidelines that have been, implemented across many countries. So let's see. I'm hoping the principles that they've set forward actually work in the right sense and nothing goes haywire. Otherwise, like that could end up pretty badly.
Yeah, I think any worse, and if even I think there's even one case in the paddock, they probably will shut down, given that there's so many consecutive weeks of Formula One. And now, and while we're on that topic, the calendar for next season looks interesting, doesn't it?
Hmm.
I mean, this season.
For sure,
This season.
This season, sorry, this
Yeah.
season.
for sure, two races at one track is really exciting and something new.
Do you think that's or that it's going to favor Max at all, or do you think it's probably going to favor
Y-
Ferrari?
I think it can favor Max because last year Max performed great at these circuits like Austria and Hungary. So he may perform well this year too, but who knows?
Well, performing great is a question mark. Pushing a Ferrari off track is a certainty.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah, but
Yeah, still hurts.
I'm really looking forward to seeing how they deal with the new Red Bull of this year, because they were having, well, some limited handling issues, I guess, in testing, is what I remember.
Mhm.
Red Bull?
Yeah, with the back end spinning out
Oh
in the final
yes,
sector in Spain, isn't it?
Yes, yes. Hmm.
good pick. I, I actually that's a great pick because I think Christian Horner came out saying that it's the best car that they've had in it's the best prepared they've ever been in history, in their history certainly. And Red Bull are typically a team which is grows stronger and stronger through a season. Um,
Yeah.
so if they can come out of the paddock strong in Austria, that'll be uh, they'll be a force to reckon with throughout the entire season if they continue the same growth curve.
I mean,
Yeah.
having said that, on the same note, I'm just equally looking forward to seeing every team and every driver how they cope with coming back, and coming back so suddenly to a different kind of a season and a revised season with no spectators. It will be really interesting from my point of view to see how they control the car, how they drive, how they kind of perform as it pans out.
Do you not feel that virtual racing helps at all?
Well, if if racing on the F1 2019 game is anything to go by, I don't think it's reminiscent of anything in reality of how a car handles.
Yeah, there's some updates to the F1 2020 game, but that just leaves us hopeful, and hope is a dangerous thing in Formula One.
Yeah. I do have a question though, regarding virtual series.
Yeah,
As far as the esports scene is concerned, that's fine. People like us, it's a good or should I say backup in the absence of F1 right now.
Filler, yeah.
But yeah, and but what about young fans? For instance, I've got my cousins who watch F1 but are not privy to the esports scene at all. And even though they know about this esports series going on, they do not find the drive to sit and watch it because according to them it just doesn't feel real.
that's because it's not.
So yeah, it's not. But so how is it going to address this small amount of people who only look forward to real F1 racing?
I think the virtual racing has helped like people who are fans in acting as a filler in giving some entertainment and some um, competition. But I don't think it's going to help in, as you said, getting new guys into following Formula One so much, because the game is nothing like what racing is in real life.
Yeah,
I mean, the one way it can help, and it certainly has, I think, been helping, is allowing people to pick up a controller and just buy the game and start playing themselves, and get into Formula One that way, instead of by becoming a spectator and watching the sport for the sake of watching it.
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And I think there's a question about the reverse grid from Harsh Zaveri. I know this is slightly off topic, but what do you guys think of actually having a reverse grid in Formula One? Um, is it actually something which uh, would work? Is it just a fad? Is it just going to be a? I think Toto used a pretty uh, eloquent word over there. Uh,
Shall we clarify before we get into it that this isn't something that it's not finalized, is it, for the next few races?
it's not going to happen this season, as I understand
Correct.
it. But what do you guys think would make Formula One actually more interesting? A back-to-back races in Austria would seem like a good place to experiment it, but what are some things which could possibly help Formula One become more exciting?
Hmm.
You guys
Mandatory
talked.
pit stop.
Yeah,
Sorry,
you
Tanish, go
guys
ahead.
yeah, no issues. You guys talked about reverse grids, right? So I think reverse grids will surely make F1 more interesting for the fans. There is no doubt in that. But I think for the drivers, no driver will like to finish first in before previous race and start at the back in the next race. No driver will like that.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think it's also about drivers liking it. I think it's slightly unfair as well. The whole point of F1 is to reward a team that kind of innovates more and performs better than others. So to kind of criminalize them, for lack of a better sense, lack of a better word, for them them for winning a race or being ahead in a championship, I think is going to be a bit unfair. So as much as it's going to be fun for viewers in terms of watching, a Ferrari or a Mercedes starting on the last row and charging through, I don't think it's going to be fair racing.
By
Yeah,
fair, do you
totally
mean
agree.
dirty or?
Oh no, fair as in taking away the fact that a team has actually put in the effort, developed the car, and won a race, and then they have to, fall back the grid.
I agree.
I
Couldn't.
agree.
Yeah. I think um, there are a few options, but I think a lot of what's used in motorsport today is just for the fans.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Formula One was always the one sport which was about performance, and that's it, full stop. For people who said X and Y won with a great car, guess what? That's what the engineers. That's why Formula One has engineers and teams have engineers. It's not just a driver sport. It never has been.
Yeah, I mean, if you do that and have reverse grid, I mean, it just takes away the whole incentive of a team trying to innovate and make their car better. And one great thing about Formula One is that, we've seen the DAS coming in this year, which is teams coming up with new things and surprising people.
Do you think DAS is actually legal?
I think it's not illegal, is what I'll say.
What do you guys think, Modo, Tanish?
To be fair,
Modo,
I don't think it's illegal, but then I'm a
uh,
relatively new fan, so I wouldn't know much.
uh, I feel like it's illegal. It's illegal. I don't know why, but the changes at suspension, I feel like it's illegal. Toe in, toe out doesn't make any sense
Right.
on legality.
That is my exact opinion. For a second you were sounding like just like a hardcore Ferrari fan. It's Mercedes, it must be illegal. But that's my take on it too. I think it changes the entire camber and toe of the car through a corner, and it even affects ride height a little bit by a negligible amount, but it does, and it shouldn't be allowed. But either way, regardless of legality or not, um, like Black Sheep said, it's amazing that after so many years, people are coming out with such innovative solutions that blew everyone away. I don't think there was a single person in the paddock who spoke about anything else.
Yep,
Yeah.
true. But it's also fun, right, to see somebody kind of on the boundary, on the edge with the rules and making the most of the loopholes. It's fun to see that happen.
Ferrari have done it in enough times, and Ferrari were experts at
Exactly.
doing it, at finding loopholes in the rule book.
Well, pretty much any championship winning team or car has at some point done it.
People make a lot of comparisons with Mercedes of new and Ferrari of old, and this is just another one that they know how to play the game, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Before we steer too much away from the whole reverse grid thing, I just wanted to kind of elaborate on that. Given that we're not going to have a reverse grid and we have two double headers, so back-to-back races at Austria and Silverstone, how do you guys feel they're going to pan out? I mean, do you think after the first race, spectators will have something to look forward to in the next race, or is it going to be slam dunk, same result, same track, same conditions? How exciting is it going to be?
I don't know. I hope it's going to be exciting, but at the same time, the only diversity we'll possibly see is how or what strategy they choose. In terms of, are they going to use the second race to experiment? But most importantly, do you guys actually think this is going to be a representative season? Do you think this is going to count as a world championship season?
I don't think so. I would like to quote you on what you just said during the intro about this experimental season. I think 2020 should be a Formula One experimental World Drive Championship.
Should or not is secondary. Do you think it's going to be counted? Do you think if Hamilton pips Verstappen or Vettel or Leclerc, it's going to count as a seventh, or do you think that he's still going to have to wait for 2021?
You mean officially or just in the minds of
Officially,
people?
officially.
I think officially it will,
will.
because why wouldn't
Yeah.
it? I mean, if you ask drivers to come in and basically ask them to do their job, then why wouldn't that job be rewarded?
Fair
Yeah.
enough.
I mean, imagine drivers. I mean, whoever wins this World Championship this year, 2020. Imagine if it doesn't get counted, and then how furious would they be? Because they had to like risk themselves going out in this pandemic racing, and then finding out it was that they were not awarded the championship that they really struggled for.
Right. And I think that's true. It probably will be counted, and I can only hope that Ferrari was sandbagging. But there was a huge update that came from Ferrari after testing. I don't know if any of you heard of it. Uh, can somebody tell me more about it? Do any of you know about it?
I have no idea about
No,
this
not that
update.
I've been updated. No.
So there was some Italian media sources which were talking about Ferrari having an updated power unit and an aero package coming, which was supposed to come in Spain. The power unit was supposed to be introduced at Australia, but they said it's going to bring Ferrari very close to what they expect is Mercedes pace. I think it's bullshit. I think it's Italian media, but
Oh yeah, I was going to say the
Yeah.
same thing. I think you have to take that with a pinch of salt. We know how notorious Italian media is with prepping up news about Ferrari.
yeah, that's very true.
Yeah, it would probably be just that.
Fair enough. And yeah, and h- now coming back to the calendar, I know that we deviated a lot to reverse grid to testing, but just
Yep.
one thing more thing about the calendar. How how many races I'm pretty sure that it's not going to be the last, or Monza's not going to be the last race. Sorry, Monza is not going to be the last race on in September. They probably will stretch it, but the question is
Hmm.
by how much.
Well, I'm
I
hoping
think
at
they
least
just
they go up to about 12 or 13 races. Tanish, sorry, go ahead.
yeah. I think there is a second Italian race for also. I mean, it can be held the second Italian race at Mugello.
You think
They are going.
it's
Sorry.
it's not going to happen this year?
No, yeah.
Oh, I was hoping for that. It should have been happen as a Ferrari fan.
That would be nice. But Black Sheep, you were saying something as well.
No, I don't think they're going to have any sort of new tracks outside of what were pre-agreed this year, at least. But I'm hoping, as I was saying, I'm hoping they'll have at least 4 or 5 other races.
Forget new tracks. There may be one old track which will stay on the calendar, which wasn't expected to, Hockenheim. Apparently, they're having advanced talks to hold a race there, and if it's anything like last season's race, we're in for a cracker.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind 2 races at Hockenheim.
Those are 2 races no one would be able to predict the outcome for. That would be hilarious.
Yeah.
As long as Hulkenberg isn't on the podium position, because I genuinely felt bad for that man. But back to the initial topic. So, in terms of timelines, do you think it's going to carry on until December, March? Do you think it's going to be one huge 20/2021 season, or how do you foresee this going?
I would say it could. mm, I'm anticipating it will go until November at max, like 2 or 3 races more than the already 8 races that we have right now. So that's my anticipation. Let's see.
Right?
Yeah, I think we're significantly things are significantly dictated by how lockdown situation in every country is unfolding.
Yeah.
Do you
So I
think
guess we just have to wait.
do you think finances will come into it because teams aren't doing very well, and sustaining a closed door race is even worse for revenue?
Well, if finance is anything to go by, then I guess the FIA will try to have as many races as possible, right?
No, I'm.
To at least get licensing fees and whatever.
That is true.
Hmm. That's a fair point. Yeah.
Because even in the races that they're holding behind closed doors, their only source of revenue is TV viewership, advertising, and licensing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think F1 have probably suffered a huge loss because of this lockdown. So I think they will figure out an alternative for the revenue. I feel so.
I certainly hope so. It'd be terrible to see any teams leave Formula One. Um,
Hmm.
but I think it's going to go on till about December at least. Primarily because they want to reduce the development for 2021 cars. Since they've pushed back the new 21 regulations to 22.
Yep.
So I think
Hmm.
that they will reduce the turnaround time for the 2021 car quite significantly. So I will not be surprised if it goes on till December.
Yep. Agreed.
Yeah.
Right. And which tracks would you not like to see on the calendar? I know it's going to be a shorter season, but there are already a few cancelled races. I think Monaco, Singapore, Baku, France, if I'm not wrong. Um, what do you guys think? Like, are these good decisions? Is this going to become slightly more interesting? Because I'm certainly happy Monaco is not happening, given that it's the most boring race of the season.
Yeah, I don't think I'm missing a lot with several of the tracks that have been struck off. Although it would have been nice to see, a couple of the new tracks, or at least one of the two new tracks, but I think they've been cancelled as well.
How could I forget Vietnam? Yes, and
Yeah.
Zandvoort. Um,
Yeah.
certainly, I
I
think. Go ahead.
I would have been very happy. Like I'm really happy that Paul Ricard and Sochi are not on the list right now. So that's definitely there. But I was really looking forward to seeing Hanoi because the I think virtual tour of the track was quite promising. Looked very interesting to me.
Yeah, I think it's always interesting seeing new tracks, not just new tracks in terms of F1, but new tracks in terms of real life, like tracks that have never been explored before, especially
Yeah.
when they're being sort of run around by the fastest cars in the world, um, around the track at least. So it'll be interesting to see how the cars go around Hanoi. But I think that's enough on street circuits. I think we should start focusing. I mean, they're thinking of a new street circuit in Miami, another one in London. I'm just getting annoyed with how difficult overtaking is anyway. I feel the only way cars with this kind of dirty I can overtake is in NASCAR.
Yeah, I mean, we've got Formula E for city streets and street circuits, so yeah, I can have a massive rant on street circuits
Sheet,
without holding back.
they are sheet circuits.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think this whole fad now where we're just trying to get more and more contracts within cities is something that Liberty Media is consciously trying to do because it it is far more revenue generating to have a race in a street circuit than it is on an actual track, which not a lot of people know, but with the fact that you have to shut down the entire city,
Hmm.
the sponsorship costs do go up significantly for um, street circuits.
Oh.
Yeah,
Is it really?
yeah, actually, because if you look at Baku, they had a huge banner on on that huge tall building in front of the back straight. You can't buy
Yeah.
that kind of sponsorship on a track.
That's fair. Yeah.
But
I
then,
just
does it
There's
really
also
make a lot of difference if the race is happening on the streets in a city or in a track in a city? So we've got tracks like, for example, Austin, fantastic circuit, and it's pretty much in the city itself.
Is
We've
it?
got,
I thought it's
we've
in the
got
middle of the
Hungary.
desert.
No, 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 it's not. It's not. It's
no,
pretty
no.
much. It's about an hour from the center of the city,
Oh,
Austin.
you've been to the Austin Grand Prix. I just recalled.
Yes. Yeah.
How was that race for you?
Oh, fantastic! Yeah,
And
absolutely.
and seeing those cars in person, I personally haven't seen the updated cars. Um, what do you think could well, what is the one thing missing from Formula One? Do you think the 2022 regulations are going to help at all?
I certainly hope so. I mean, if we are to buy what they're saying about reducing, bad air and dirty air and following cars, etc., I think it was something like 70% more easier to follow cars. I'm not sure. I guess when it comes to testing at the end of next year, beginning of the year after. We haven't really seen much other than a couple of snippets from wind tunnel performance things they've done.
Hmm.
So yeah, I'm
What do
going to
you,
come back to a question you asked, Ado. You asked which trucks would you like to not be included in the season coming up. What about you?
well, good question. I'm just going. Going. Sorry for the delay. I'm going over the mental calendar in my head. Abu Dhabi for one. I think,
Yep.
not for any other reason, but I love the circuit. But I think Mercedes just know the track too well. I would hate to see them dominate another year. Um, Brazil. Brazil is a notorious track for overtaking. I think it's and with even a slightly worse cars this year when it comes to dirty air. um, it'll be impossible to overtake in Brazil. The only way to actually overtake is either be a second a lap faster on tires, or uh, sorry, or you need to have an immense power gain over the car in front. Because when you come through that tight sector two, getting onto the straight is just you're not
Yep.
going to be close enough.
Yep.
Um, Brazil was an exciting Grand Prix, but for different reasons. I don't think it's the nicest track to race on. Um, what
I think
else?
there's already a massive question mark on whether Brazil will be open anyway.
Right.
Hmm. I
Yeah.
have a question. I have a question. Let's just take this question and twist it about what tracks you don't want to have. What are the
Okay.
tracks that you would like to have which are not currently part of F1, like old tracks?
Ooh, completely different tangent there.
Yeah.
Imola. Imola. I really like that track. And Turkey as well had a gorgeous track.
Hmm.
I would
What?
probably love to have the Monza with that the bank straight, the bank straight.
Not happening.
It's
That's
really, I
never.
really want F1 drivers to drive on that.
I,
Yeah,
for
it's
the
just
simple reason, would not like to drive on that even in the game because ERS management would be impossible.
no. It's gonna be physically impossible to have those cars given the low ride height they have on a banked circuit like that. It's not gonna happen.
Wasn't the
Yeah, I
Zandvoort
should agree
banking
with that.
wasn't the Zandvoort banking very close to the slope of the Monza banking?
Yeah, but I guess isn't the Zandvoort one a little bit wider as well? So I
May-
guess
Yes.
the
Yes.
angle is there, but it's much more wider.
I think that's technicalities. I mean, they would have to modify the banking or redo the tarmac on the banking anyway. So extending it by a bit may not be too much of an issue.
Yeah, I mean, if they're able to make it much more wider, I guess then yeah. But safety-wise, I guess with the ride height that we currently have, um, it's going to be too narrow.
I think the cars are safer than they have ever been when it comes to banking because the more downforce there is, the better it is for the cars on a banked plane or whatever it is. But you get what I mean.
Hmm.
Uh, Sort of, but isn't the risk that the cars operate now at a speed that is beyond what's permissible? I know you've mentioned about widening it and all that, but the I don't know. I guess what I'm saying is that the angle of the turn is probably too dangerous to expect a car to rotate continually at that angle and at that speed.
But these cars have so much downforce, they wouldn't have to be flat out. They would need to lift. So cars with better aero would possibly go flat out, just like if you think of cops in uh, in
Silverstone.
Silverstone. Some cars could go flat out there, and some cars had to brake or lift.
Yeah, but then it's all about risk, right? I mean, look at how much gravel and how wide off-track areas there are at Cops. I mean, if you go off
Yeah.
on a banking, you're done.
I think there are several safety solutions to this. I would just love to see a bank like that in Formula One, whether it's in Monza or not. I don't know. But we have a comment here, which is a very interesting comment from Electrip. He lives in Singapore. He's an NRI, and he's mentioned that Singapore GP tickets are actually selling.
Hmm.
Wow. Okay.
Is that officially or someone just selling old tickets? I don't know.
I hope it's official. He says it's official, and it's time for a quick Google. But yes, if it does happen, just another race this season we can look forward to.
Yeah, not the ideal race to look forward to, but I guess yeah.
Right.
What about you, BlackSheep? Which circuit would you want?
You mean ones that are not on the calendar at the
Yeah.
moment?
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind Imola, as Mara said. Mugello is good. Turkey is good. I'm sort of into minds about uh, South
I
Korea.
think
I didn't really
sorry,
hate that
Black
track.
Sheep.
Yep.
Sorry, Black Sheep. I think we forget one of the great circuits, India.
All Hamilton fans will disagree
Yeah,
with that.
yeah, it's a great circuit to drive.
Is it? Yeah, I think it's definitely a good circuit for overtaking, so I would like to see it come back. Good point.
I would love Malaysia to come back.
Yes, Sepang.
Yes.
That would be amazing with these modern cars. I think 2017 was a treat, the 2017 Grand Prix. Um,
Yep.
it Even though it's probably had the highest IOA among every single track on the calendar, it was still such a beautiful track to drive on and watch. But
I mean, that just gives you a sense of the direction that F1 is going in, right? When we said they're trying to get circuits or more street circuits in Miami, whilst they shut down due to lack of revenue circuits like Sepang. We've lost Hockenheim now.
and both of which are probably fan favorites,
Yep.
right? Let's just hope Silverstone never goes. I know that there was a threat of that recently, but I think they're renewed now. Silverstone is one track F1 would not be able to survive without.
Yep.
Hmm.
Certainly.
Right. So, any guys, I think we're running out of time. So, anything you'd like to add about the upcoming 2020 season?
Mm, The comment that Electric made, I think it's kind of. I mean, I can see the tickets being sold online, but I'm not sure about them being the old dates or the new ones.
Right.
So, so
Yep.
we could like at this point we could probably say Singapore could happen.
Okay. So guys, get your Singapore tickets quickly. You heard it here first. If they aren't for sale, you can just join IRC and talk to take it up with Electrip directly.
Yep. We don't take any liability if they're not true tickets.
I'll probably say I will not feel greedy of adding new tracks to the calendar. I'll just feel like we should start the season.
I agree. The
Oh,
more the
yeah.
merrier.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Yep.
Right? But I think the best part is F1 is back, and starting I think 3rd July the weekend starts in Austria. It'll be interesting to see how the back-to-back races pan out, whether they'll test out different strategies, try and catch people off guard. I hope to God Ferrari just stick to what they know. But Spain, another track where overtaking will be difficult but lovely to drive on. Belgium on the 30th of August, and followed by Monza. Spa and Monza, again, great tracks to overtake on. So we should see a fairly exciting season, except for probably Hungary. Every other track we have here has excitement written all over it.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yep. So leave your thoughts in the comments, guys, and please do follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and if you are interested in sim racing, you can join our Discord as well. Thank you. See, bye, guys.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Okay, bye, guys.